G'day, how you going there guys, and welcome. My name is Brandon from Hold Your Own, and today I'm going to bring to you guys a little video on the topic of water depletion. So water intake is a really commonly manipulated variable on the lead up to show, and a lot of athletes are still doing it with the hope of peaking better. And what I'm going to do today is run over the ideology behind that concept, and then want to touch on why it's flawed and why I don't recommend such protocols. Okay, so when it comes to fluids, we need to understand that we hold fluid in a couple of different compartments. And today we're going to break that down into two categories, and that is intracellular fluid, fluid that resides within the cell, extracellular fluid, fluid that resides outside the cell. And that can of course be further broken down into interstitial fluid and blood plasma, etc. So if we go over to my horribly drawn diagram, completely not to scale, so you know guys. We can see here, this is our cell, and this is the fluid we're going to hold in the cell, and then everything outside, that's going to be extracellular fluids. So inclusive of this here, interstitial, or the fluid in the interstitial space, and of course within blood plasma. So the concept behind depleting your fluid in the lead up to competition is that we can decrease the amount of fluid residing in this extracellular space, so the athlete now looks harder and fuller as they now have a higher proportion of fluid residing in the cell. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen, does it? So we have to understand the body is of course homeostatic. So homeostasis refers to a tight level of internal regulation, and we're homeostatic on all levels. Thermoregulation, we regulate our body very efficiently. Our hormone profiles, of course, water balance is no different. So of course we need to understand that we can't transport fluid from one compartment to another without, affecting the other. Okay, so it's in balance. So we tend to hold our fluid at about 67% in the intracellular space and 33% in the extracellular space, or extracellular outside the cell, and we can further break that down into 25% interstitial and 8% plasma. So in dehydrating, what we're doing is we're putting our body into a position of hypohydration or dehydration. In relation to that, we get a decrease in blood plasma, or decrease in blood volume, we could say, and that of course gives a decrease in blood pressure. In relation to a decrease in blood pressure, we now have peripheral vasoconstriction. Okay, we're now in trouble. We want peripheral vasodilation when we want to get on stage because we want to look vascular, so we're in real trouble. And of course, we're going to get that associated decrease in cell volume because we can't, isolate one compartment from one another. It's going to be homeostatic. And of course, there's a host of other suboptimal body function that will follow on. Blood's more viscous. We now have a cardiac response. We have to stimulate cardiac response, decrease in oxygen transport capacity, etc., etc., etc. A massive decrease in our work capacity on top of that as well. Okay, so these top 3 points are our big ones: decrease in blood volume, peripheral vasoconstriction, decrease in cell volume. We've now got an athlete that's looking flat on stage, and that's just no good. So regardless as to whether the athlete has now their carbohydrate loading protocols, they're simply not going to have the available fluids to fill it out. Okay, and that's why we do not recommend water depletion. We use